So there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of debate on who's greater, LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. So I'm here with my boy Joe, so we can go ahead and end the debate with only completely objective information.
I mean, I'd like to just start the discussion out with some information. LeBron is garbage. Everybody knows that.
No, when I watch LeBron James, like I just see nothing but 360 dunks, just alley hoops nonstop, playing every position on the court from point guard to shooting guard to small forward to power forward, basically dominating at every position.
Now, when you say 360 dunks, did you mean 360 flops? Because, I mean, he does flop around all over the court, like 360, 720. Sometimes I even see 1080. Like, I mean, he's really good at it. I hear he worked a lot on that in the off-season. He took a few acting classes, He really did improve that part of his game, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he might do that once or twice in between scoring 35
Interesting
points,
you say once or
10
twice, because I have
rebounds.
a statistic here that LeBron James actually, in FPG, flops per game, actually averages 8.8. That's at least 6 more FPG than any other player in the league.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many flops has Kobe done this year?
0.
How many points has he scored this year?
Well, he's been out.
Oh, yeah. How much does he help? Does LeBron James
I'm glad you brought that up, though.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can easily see that if Kobe's out for the whole season, how bad the Lakers really are. They are worse than a team that you might be familiar with, Cleveland. Cleveland without LeBron James is still better than the Lakers without Kobe Bryant. So that's saying that the cast that Kobe Bryant has around him in LA is even worse than the cast that LeBron had around him in Cleveland. And yet, Kobe Bryant has been able to get 3 more championships. Well, actually, 5 more championships than LeBron had in Cleveland because he had a big goose egg.
Okay. So, yeah, let's say that. Let's say Kobe Bryant has had a horrible cast of teammates, because that horrible cast includes Shaquille O'Neal, still in his prime, Pau Gasol, still in his prime. You have Steve Nash, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Ron Artest.
Steve Nash, when he's like 45 years old.
Maybe all of the Cavaliers' great teammates that he's had.
And we can see how great Pau Gasol is, because when Kobe's out for a season, the Lakers are pretty much in last place.
Pau Gasol is like 45 now. When they were winning the championships a couple years ago, he was in his early 30s, maybe.
Oh, it's amazing how a couple of years goes from 20s to 45.
Well, I'm good at math, so you know that's legit.
Well, speaking of math, I have a good formula that kind of will help bring the objectivity to this discussion.
Okay.
So we got 2 key stats here.
All
Alright, so we have Kobe with 5 rings and LeBron with 2 rings. So utilizing this mathematic formula, using science and all the most brilliant minds of today's world, we can determine that Kobe Bryant is 2.5 times better than LeBron James.
Okay.
Using only completely objective information.
Okay, so let me go ahead and stifle that with this. 3 of those rings came when he was a role player on Shaq's team and then by that logic also Robert Horry is greater than pretty much every basketball player ever imaginable. And what was I saying? Oh, and LeBron James has only played for a third of the time Kobe has, and he has 4 times as many MVPs as Kobe, and he has more than twice as many
The MVP
career
award doesn't mean
triple-doubles.
anything. That's like a popularity contest. That doesn't mean squat. The reason Kobe didn't have MVPs is because everyone hated him. He was the bad guy.
He is the bad guy, and they should hate him.
People just thought he was the bad
That's a
guy
legitimate
for being
thing.
the best. But LeBron, it's just like a popularity contest. So these coaches are all over LeBron for some reason, which I can't explain.
LeBron is the most hated on player in the league, so the fact that he did win all those MVPs is even more basically.
Again, you're
talking
using the
about
wrong
how
word.
great
By hated on, you mean overrated. Like those are 2 different words. I think you're confusing things.
Yeah, I don't know about that because he had no opportunity in Cleveland, and then he moved to Miami.
What do you mean he had no opportunity? He was there for like 8 years.
Who was his best teammate?
Before he colluded in the shadows with the 2 other best all-stars in the league and was like, yo, I can't get it done by myself. I can't get it done by myself. Well, he probably tried with Kobe first, and Kobe's like, man, get out of here. I'm already better than you. I'm worth 3 of you. And then he's like, well, Kobe won't carry me to the championship. I'm going to need other people to carry me. And he's like, D-Wade, I want you to carry me to the championship. I saw how you did this a couple years ago. I saw how you won the chip by yourself. I want you to put me on your back and take me there. And D-Wade's like, I don't know if I can do it with you bringing me down, LeBron. We're going to need to bring in someone else. So they're like, all right, how about Chris Bosh? We'll bring him in too. And then we might have a shot. So they put those three together, and guess what? They didn't win the championship the first year. I was like, how pathetic is that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because they actually signed Chris Bosh first. But yeah, LeBron James has only been the best player in the league ever since. And I think the 2 or 3 MVPs that he's gotten since. And he's been to the finals each time. How many times has Kobe been to the finals since LeBron switched teams?
Well, remember when Kobe was making deals in the shadows to get Chris Paul and Blake Griffin on his team? Oh wait, that didn't happen. He didn't have to do that to win a championship. And remember when you said that Kobe only was carried by Shaq because Shaq was the one that was winning the championships?
Yeah, that's a very true statement.
Now, if that's a very true statement, how many championships has Kobe won without Shaq?
He has won 2.
And how many has Shaq won without Kobe?
1.
Twice as many!
Okay, 2 to 1. He's saying twice as many.
Is the 2 and 1 not twice as many?
Okay, well, this is true. Well, I will say this. LeBron is on his way for this next ring. The only team with the higher seed in his conference is the Pacers. They're playing god-awful. And the Lakers had 0% chance of winning a championship this year. Probably for the next 10 years.
You bring up some good points when you say things like, the Pacers are the only better seed, when really the Heat and the Pacers were the only ones in the East with winning records for half the season. So he's got some stiff competition over there in the East. Meanwhile, the 8th seed in the West would have been the 3 seed in the East. I mean, Kobe's got to go through a lot tougher teams just to get to the championship.
Were the Lakers this year? I've lost track. I forgot.
Kobe was out for the year, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what seed would they have been if Kobe?
Nursing his knee.
Are you saying what seed would they have been if he had played the whole year? Probably 1, like usual.
Over the Spurs.
Yeah.
Over the Thunder.
Okay, so the Spurs have won 4 championships in Kobe's time. Kobe's won 5, so yeah, over the Spurs. Pretty obvious.
Oh, okay. Even though the Lakers, even with Kobe Bryant, could probably still be like the worst team in the league right now. I don't even know where they finished last year in the playoffs. It must have been pretty quickly, because I don't really remember.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was just, remembering all the championships, and it's just a blur. You can't, one championship after another, you forget these things.
Well, yeah, I guess when you have all those great teammates that do all the work for you. And
oh, yeah? Who are these great teammates?
Shaq was the first time around. Then he had Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, and Ron Artest.
Andrew Bynum?
He had some good
And Ron, you mean Meta World Peace?
Yeah, Meta World Peace. Back when he was actually good. Not that he is anymore.
Alright, so, LeBron, he's pretty much stuck at 2 rings. He's not going to be getting any more. That's pretty much undebatable. Now that Dwayne Wade is kind of injured and stuff, LeBron's going to have to try and get there with just only 1 All-Star teammate, kind of like Michael Jordan used to do, but, LeBron's no Michael Jordan, so he's going to have to do it with just Chris Bosh, unless Dwayne Wade can stay healthy for, a whole bunch more years, which I don't see it happening. So if Dwayne Wade's not going to be able to carry LeBron, it's pretty much done for him.
LeBron can carry himself. When he played for the Cavaliers,
exactly.
His best teammate was Drew Gooden. Drew Gooden's stat line was 10-5. So let me tell you, when they were in their prime, when it was just LeBron James, their teammates was Drew Gooden, Eric Snow, Daniel Gibson, and Big C, which Lord knows I can't pronounce his name. That team was so bad, I could have been their starting 2. And you know how god-awful I am. So that being said, in Kobe's time when he won all those championships, all I can think of is all these Hall of Fame players that did all this work, and then Kobe Bryant just so happened to be there. A backup long snapper in football, he may have been there, but did he really earn that championship? That's something you have to consider.
So all those Hall of Fame, by all those Hall of Fame players, you mean 1? Shaq? 1 Hall of Fame player?
No, like I said, he did play with Karl Malone. He did play with Gary Payton.
after they were 50 years old.
But he did play with them.
And they didn't even win a championship when they were on the team.
Yeah, because he just stopped how great. Oh, you remember when they were the 8th seed and his contract was up, he demanded a trade unless they fixed up that roster and added somebody, which they eventually did get him Pau Gasol, but you didn't see LeBron do that.
No, you just saw him collude in the shadows with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to try and form an all-star team without anyone else knowing.
Yeah, well, he didn't demand a trade, and I think he played 7 or 8 years with that god awful team.
Oh, and another thing about LeBron James, when he left Cleveland, he made a fucking hour-long special, The Decision.
It was a donation to the Boys and Girls Club.
A guy who can't win a championship is making
charities.
Let's talk about an ego besides a Kanye West. This guy's like, The Decision. He puts an hour-long special about where he's gonna go. It's like, where's this dude who's never won a championship gonna go? It's like, who cares?
That was like the biggest event on television.
I'm gonna put a TV show, The Decision. Which game am I gonna go watch this week? Something completely irrelevant.
It's no way that, just hindsight, I would have never, called up Larry, called up Magic and say, hey, let's get together and play on one team. I mean, things are different. I can't say that's a bad thing. I mean, that's an opportunity these kids have today. I mean, in all honesty, I was trying to beat those guys. I don't know if they would have been on my team. If we'd been on our team, obviously, when you look at the Dream Team, they were on my team, and it wasn't too much of a competitive thing. I'm a competitive guy, and I like to play against competitive players and see what happens from there.